Okay, the title is called "Why People Can't Go to Antarctica." Let's find the fuck out.
There's a
Because it's
place
cold,
on
right?
Earth that you're
Ain't
not
it?
allowed to go to. A continent that is larger than the United States and Mexico combined, where stepping foot there without permission can land you in prison, can get you a
Damn.
good ass whooping. It's not a military base, it's not a government facility, it's an entire continent. It's Antarctica. And most people think it's just ice and penguins, empty, worthless, white. But if that's true, why does it cost tens of thousands of dollars and months of permits to just visit there? Why is it the only place on Earth that is governed by an international treaty signed by 58 nations, me not being one of them? Why are vast sections of it blurred out on Google Earth? Why is that? Something is not adding up here. I stink. I mean, I smell something.
I know.
That stinks. For over a century, explorers could visit Antarctica freely. Scientists mapped its coastlines, governments claimed territories, and even tourists just took expeditions there to explore. Then suddenly, in 1959, everything changed. The Antarctic Treaty locked down the entire continent under the most restrictive international agreement in human history. They say it's to keep you safe, because you'll die if you go there. But locking down the entire continent? That doesn't really make a lot of sense, man. That's overkill. That's bullshit. All right, homie? Harry the Rat says that's bullshit. Whatever's down there, whether it be treasure, technology, or some kind of truth that we're not ready for, someone decided that the rest of us don't get to know. We don't get to know, I don't get to know. I get to speculate, and I get to talk about it and have a lot of fun talking about it, but, you know, you just watch this video. Anyways, buckle up. We're prying open the coldest lockbox on Earth. Antarctica. First, let's start with mind-bending facts, okay? We're gonna be talking about speculative conspiracies in the next chapter. This one is facts that seem like speculative conspiracies. In 1929, workers cleaning out an old Turkish palace made a bizarre discovery. Hidden in the archives was a map drawn in 1513 by Admiral Piri Reis. You've probably heard of him. He's very famous. It's not an obscure conspiracy document that's dated somewhere when it's not supposed to be dated and all that. It's real. It's in a museum, and it shows something impossible, okay? It shows the coast of Antarctica 300 years before anyone supposedly discovered it. How in the is that possible? The map doesn't just show that a southern continent exists, it shows the actual coastline of Antarctica, accurate to within miles. Well, what's the big deal about that? The coastline has been buried under ice for millions of years. No one in 1513 should have known what it looked like, or how to find out what it looked like. Piri Reis noted on the map itself that he compiled it from ancient sources, some dating back to the 4th century BC, which is a long, long time ago. So that's really confusing. And in 1960, the US Air Force analyzed the map and confirmed that its geographical details match seismic surveys of the actual bedrock beneath Antarctica's ice sheet. How did they know that?
Right.
I don't know. I'm asking you. Do you know? Are you a science person?
No.
Get on my
They just make shit up just to make it sound good.
So think about what that means for all of us. Someone thousands of years ago mapped Antarctica when it was covered in ice. Someone with technology to survey an entire continent from above. It seems like, at least. Unless they had one of those balls from Waterworld and they got real deep down in the in the ocean and he was like, or whatever, and then there was a squid! Fortunately, it gets even more strange and bizarre. The Oronteus Phineas map from 1531, not 1513, the Piri Reis map, this is a completely different one. It shows even more detail of the southern land recently discovered. Rivers, mountain ranges, coastlines, a swastika? Why'd they put a swastika on that? Seems odd. We'll find out later in chapter 2. With some of these geographical markers matching the hidden topography beneath miles of ice that modern scientists only discovered with ground penetrating radar in the 90s. How? Now, Critics, there are critics of everything, they say it's a coincidence. It's a coincidental resemblance to a mythical continent that does not exist. Or Theus, if that is his real name, was just a goofy goober. Which that's possible, to be honest. It kind of makes sense. People were really good at making shit up. But they do seem to be more like precise geographical surveys of landscapes that have been hidden than they do just made up nonsense like the Voynich manuscript or something like that. Anyways, how about Lake Vostok? There's more. 2.5 miles beneath the ice of Antarctica lies a lake the size of Ontario, which is a province in Canada. This lake has been cut off from the surface world for over 15 million years. I'm gonna start referring to us as surface dwellers in the surface world. Lake Vostok, not speculative at all, it's real. Russian scientists spent 20 years drilling a hole to reach it. They finally broke through in 2012, and what they found was very enlightening from a science perspective and how we understand life on Earth. The lake itself is pristine, untouched. It's a perfect time capsule from an age when Antarctica was green and warm, and that's not a conspiracy. It was at one point green and warm, like the Holy Relic. Yeah! The water samples that they collected from Lake Vostok contained bacteria that evolved in complete isolation and developed survival mechanisms unlike anything else on Earth, because there aren't many organisms that develop in complete isolation, okay? These organisms lived in total darkness, under crushing pressure, with no oxygen, and somehow they...
I heard, since we're talking about conspiracy theories, I heard that if all the ice in Antarctica was decided to melt, shit that was frozen there that was probably like not greenhouse gas or like some disease that was like frozen solid and within all those years might get released and fuck human kind completely up. Like, what if it's bigger than COVID? It's bigger than Ebola. Like, it's bigger than that shit. Like, no cure, because this shit is definitely new. And it's like probably wiping out the whole human race. Right? I'm just saying, but that I heard shit like that. And it kind of makes sense, because like things could get frozen in time and like been savored. And then once that ice is off and that shit thaw out, niggas might be cooked.
Thrived for millions of years. How in the is that even possible? Scientists discovered at least 17 different species of microbes in the waters of Lake Vostok. Some represent entirely new branches of the tree of life. They feed on chemicals instead of sunlight. They transform metals in ways we're still trying to understand, and they can survive in conditions that would instantly kill any surface life from us weak surface dwellers. Now, this beyond the secrets of Antarctica has pretty staggering implications. For example, if life can exist in Lake Vostok's impossible environment, life can probably exist in other impossible environments, like on other planets. Bing! Ring ding ding! Lake Vostok is just one of over 140 subglacial lakes that have been discovered beneath Antarctica. We have no idea what is in the others, and we can't access most of them. You can't get a drill bit that long. Believe me, I've asked. There could be entire ecosystems down there that have evolved separately from everything we know on Earth in the surface world, for us surface dwellers. Now, how about the blood falls? These are real photos.
I heard about this.
What the fuck is going on? Oh, these? Don't worry about these. These are just blood waterfalls emerging from glaciers. It's just a normal thing, guys. In Antarctica's McMurdo dry valleys, which if McMurdo rings a bell, you've probably seen The Thing, my favorite movie of all time, and my favorite example of cosmic horror. In this dry valley, something bleeds from the ice. The blood falls, as they're called, look like crimson waterfalls of blood. They're pouring from a glacier called the Taylor Glacier, and the red liquid stains the white ice red. And for over a century, nobody knew why. They were just like, it's probably hell down there. But it isn't hell. It's somehow actually more strange.
All right, so we gotta answer.
It is ancient seawater that's been trapped beneath the glacier for 5 million years. It's just leaking out of it, and it's red. And it isn't just old salt water. It's got living things in it. Now, the red color comes from iron oxide, but the iron oxide isn't occurring from the oxidation of iron in the normal process. It's being produced by bacteria. Those bacteria I mentioned that have strange interactions with metal, they eat the metal, they feed on the metal, and then they produce iron oxide. How? Why? What in the heck? Oh, these little rascals have also been sealed in complete darkness for millions of years with no sunlight, no oxygen, and no connection to the surface world. And somehow they've just survived down there and created their own ecosystem where they can transform iron into sulfur compounds and use that for energy. The process by which they're doing this, scientists are still trying to understand. To be fair, they're really far away and hard to get to, so it makes sense as to why it's so difficult. So yeah, that's unbelievable. That's things crazy. Use sulfur and iron to live, and they don't use the sun like everything else that lives. They're chemosynthetic extremophiles.
But that makes it kind of makes sense because you got fish that don't need sun. You got fish that literally lives at the bottom of the ocean, literally no sunlight penetrating that deep in the ocean, and they still living.
Files is what they're actually called if you want to Google those words. I promise you won't get put on any lists. I made it plural. I said lists. Okay, that's right. Lists. No, lists.
Nigga, just grab the dictionary.
I don't like that. So you get a little blood coming out of the ground, no big deal. Scientists have also detected massive geothermal activity beneath Antarctica that doesn't match any geological model of the continent as well. Published research shows that heat flux near the South Pole measuring twice the expected values. Now that might not sound that dramatic, but it does represent millions of watts of unexplained energy generation. Is it those little extremophile chemosynthetic fellas chewing on sulfur and iron? Who the f knows? Something is producing massive amounts of heat deep beneath the ice, creating vast underground hot water systems in
the government. I got it. Thank you guys. Nobody didn't. Y'all ain't need to do that. I always got the answer. Your boy Bags is always right when it comes to conspiracy theories, man. Do your research. But look, they trying to get more land. You got motherfuckers out here fighting for land and oil right now. The world going crazy. They're trying to heat up some other shit so that nobody didn't put their claim on it yet. It's not in paperwork. But melt the land, make it livable. Get on going with this.
Caverns that we're only beginning to map. Ground penetrating radar and geological surveys have revealed enormous voids beneath the Antarctica ice sheet. Not small air pockets, but cavities large enough to contain entire cities, and they're not natural formations. Halo reference. They're spaces that have been carved out by sustained heat sources that shouldn't exist according to our current understanding of Antarctic geology. This cave is not a natural formation. The heat signatures don't match volcanic activity, radioactive decay, or any other known geothermal process. They're too large, too organized, and too purposeful, to be honest. Whatever's generating these things, this heat, it's been active for a very long time, and it's quietly reshaping the subworld, Antarctica from below. Okay, guys? That's a big conspiratorial, but something is going on in there, and we don't really know exactly what it is because it's so far away and so deep down there. And recent
other conspiracy theories. This is probably why they got that little thing from the Bible, the biblical beast, the long dragon thing. They saying that shit waking up, heating up the rocks. Why they got so many fucking stories that sound crazy? And it might be true. But like, bro, these stories live forever, dog. So I guess the longer you sharpen the knife, the more sharp that motherfucker gonna be. Y'all follow me?
Satellite measurements show that ice is melting from underneath at an accelerating rate, which isn't due to climate change. It's from an internal heat source that science is having a difficult time explaining, which, by the way, is how science works. That's very normal. Or it's because it's an alien under there. What the?
I thought he was gonna say what I said.
Haven't you seen the thing?
What thing? Go ahead. Tell me the thing.
Pretty odd things going on in Antarctica. Let's be real. I think I might go to check it out. Just kidding. Time to venture into darker.
He pussy. He not Ash out. He not Ash out. He pussy. He not gonna. We need braver white people. We need more braver people.
So the purpose of Act 1 was to show you some very interesting things in regard to Antarctica that are completely real and we have a hard time explaining. Act 2 is more of that, but like a lot crazier. Between 1938 and 1939, Nazi Germany conducted a massive expedition to Antarctica, and they weren't there for the scenery. They were there for the vril. They were on their way to Hyperborea. This operation was led by Captain Alfred Richer. He led it aboard the ship the Schwabenland. Okay, guys, you've probably heard of Schwabenland. These fellas on this expedition systematically mapped over 350,000 square kilometers of Antarctic territory, flying reconnaissance missions, dropping thousands of metal Nazi markers bearing swastikas to claim the land for the Third Reich. Schwabenland, New Schwabenland, New Schwabia. What the is Schwabia? Da wo man zusammen große Worte sind da. Sieh mal alle irgendwann wieder in. They called this area that they put their little markers down on New Schwabenland, or New Swabia, which is a region in southern Germany and Bavaria, I'm pretty sure. It's where my family's from. All right, guys, Bavaria. And this wasn't a small scientific expedition. It was a territorial conquest. The Nazis big into territorial conquests. So why were the Nazis up in New Schwabenland? They were there officially to establish whaling stations and to obviously just secure more territory for Germany. But some people theorize they may have built something much darker around these documented facts. The theory is that the Nazis discovered warm water areas heated by geothermal vents and established a secret base called Base 211. That's the theory. And according to this theory, Base 211 became a refuge for high-ranking Nazis after the defeat of Germany in 1945. A development center for advanced technology, including the Vril-powered Flying Bell, the Acorn. Have you seen this? Have you seen this? I haven't seen it, but I've seen of it. I've seen it around, or whatever. This is what people believe Base 211 looked like, a secret Nazi hideaway in Antarctica, or New Schwabenland. All right? Is it real? I'm not sure. We do know that they went up there. Okay, we do know that, and they put their little things. I believe some of them are still up there. There is more documented evidence post-war, by the way, of U-boats and submarines turning up where they shouldn't necessarily have been, and some people believe that they stopped in Antarctica on their way to Argentina. I don't know. It's a pretty deep rabbit hole. This video is more just about Antarctica. Now on to post-war. In 1946, just 1 year after the Nazi-German surrender, the United States launched Operation High Jump under Admiral Richard E. Byrd. I've talked about this multiple times.
Oh, I've never heard of these operations. I gotta start looking at my operations.
Heard of this story. There was a fairly large scientific expedition, a massive military operation involving 4,700 personnel, 13 ships, 33 aircraft, doing what was officially described as a training exercise that was just remarkably well armed. The operation was planned to last 8 months, but it ended abruptly after just 8 weeks. Official reports cite harsh weather conditions and equipment failures, but the sudden termination of something so large scale has fueled decades of speculation. The theory, and people often cite alleged statements by Admiral Richard E. Byrd, okay? They say he encountered hostile forces or advanced aircraft. There's a very famous story of him.
They always got some zero to hero ass story,
into
bro.
the middle of the earth, into the hollow earth, and speaking to white Nordic aliens that had swastikas all around them and saying, if you can't do it, it's over. You need to be a good guy. So Operation High Jump, totally real, very strange, but it's what people often cite statements by Admiral Byrd after the event. That is what the real mystery is. There is allegedly a secret journal, a secret diary that details Admiral Byrd's encounter with white Nordic aliens that took him into the hollow earth that was only accessible through Antarctica. It was beautiful, green trees, green grass, blue skies, better something for the day I die. With big white tall aliens, long beautiful hair, and there's just swastikas everywhere, and they say, telepathically of course, do not use nuclear bombs. We are not Nazis, we are aliens. We are good guys.
All right, he's making fun of it, but I did hear a story like that where let me kind of clear it up for you guys. If you guys don't know about it, I mean, I just stumble across these conspiracy theories just because I want to know what people really be coming up with. But here's the thing where they said that these long people, huge people, drove in spaceships, drove around the United States, like in important military bases and shit like that, to try to talk to our chief in command, which is the president. They try to tell the president, you're not using nuclear, you're going to destroy the whole earth. if you guys go and use a nuclear. And I guess president or whatever person that spoke back to them said, nah, F off, we got this. They try to shoot it down a couple times too. They try to shoot it down. And some of them stories kind of link to other stories, but it's just, like, people, you don't never know what people could do these days. Like, they are capable of making crazy stories. Motherfuckers are capable of making movies that look real. So you never know. Never know, right? So that's my take on it.
Stuff. People attribute that to him. You know, there's apparently a secret diary, but a lot of this stuff appears to be just entirely fabricated, to be honest. But that is the story. Now, something incredible was documented during Operation High Jump. On January 30th, 1947, Lieutenant Commander David Bunger, pretty cool name, was flying a reconnaissance mission when he spotted something that defied traditional explanation of the Antarctic geography. A vast area of ice-free land with blue and green lakes in the middle of Antarctica. Not trees necessarily, but a significant discovery nonetheless. This discovery was so significant that Admiral Byrd himself called it by far the most important discovery of the expedition. That's before they gave up after 8 weeks, of course. Bunger landed his seaplane on one of the lakes, and the water temperature was 38 degrees Fahrenheit, which is remarkably warm for Antarctica. And the lakes were filled with colored algae, and the surrounding area contained flowing water and a landscape that none of them had ever really seen before, and Byrd described it as looking like a landscape on another planet. Here's pictures of it. So it's called Bunger Oasis. It's a real documented photographed area, and it has a warm ice-free zone, one of the very few in Antarctica. So that's really interesting. Now imagine them getting sucked into a hole and their seaplane gets redirected by a flying disc, and then there's white people with long hair and they're saying, or whatever the they'd say. How about what looks like pyramids up there? Am I right? Very strange. Modern satellite imagery has revealed some intriguing features across Antarctica. Users of Google Earth have documented what appears to be pyramids, geometric structures, formations 180 feet wide by 230 feet tall, with straight surfaces that look artificial. Very strange things to see in an ice continent. Plus, the formations seem to remain ice-free in spite of Antarctic conditions. They're too regular and too geometric to be natural formations. And unfortunately, they're too isolated and inaccessible to be investigated properly, especially not by the public, like me or you. Something also disturbing is when people try to verify the coordinates of these formations online, they often find the locations have been removed, the images have been removed. Just across the board, information has been removed from public access or has been digitally obscured when it comes to these geometric things in Antarctica. Also, Antarctica has become a bit of a hotspot for UFO sightings. Research station personnel, pilots, and tourists have all reported unusual phenomena, which is just kind of normal now. Disc-shaped objects emerging from the ice, lights moving at impossible speeds, structured objects caught on security cameras, things like that. Bizarre, unexplainable things. In the world of the Antarctic pyramids and Antarctic UFOs collides. In 2018, a Google Earth user claimed to have discovered what appeared to be a massive entrance in the Antarctic ice. And when people tried to verify the location, they found that the coordinates had been removed from public access, and images of it had been digitally destroyed. But luckily, I have one here in this video. Probably, I don't know what Tara put up there. Thank you though, Tara, I really appreciate it. And aside from that, scientists have also detected strange radio signals emanating from beneath the ice. An experiment called the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna experiment recorded unusual radio bursts coming from under the ice that don't match any.
Duh, it's gonna be unusual because bitch, nobody did that before. So what the fuck you gonna expect?
Known natural phenomena. And to this day, those signals appear to violate our current scientific understanding of particle physics. These radio waves are being detected from below the horizon, which is not possible to detect radio signals from below the horizon. I don't know a lot about particle physics, to be honest, but it's just bizarre. What the f is happening and why don't more people talk about it? Pardon me for continuing to connect all these theories, by the way, but the alien, geometry, radio theory connects to the Nazi theory as well. Some geniuses, theorists, proposed that the advanced technology that was allegedly developed at Base 211 during World War II was actually reverse engineered from extraterrestrial crafts. And these geniuses suggest that Antarctica serves as a kind of neutral zone where world governments could interact with alien civilizations hidden completely from the public view and beneath the ice. And there isn't really a lot of credible evidence, but there is consistent reports of unusual aerial phenomena and some very unexpected things. And it does make sense. If you were to cast aside all doubt, humans, aliens on the same planet, let's say, and to prevent worldwide hysteria, because I know I'd be hysterical if some alien showed up. I'd be like, ah! Ah! No, I'd handle it, dude. I've been prepping with my little bro here. I would offer him to them. To prevent hysteria, just hang out with them in Antarctica. Just hang out with him in Antarctica. Just don't even worry about hanging out with him like at Trump Tower or whatever at Mar-a-Lago or Wendy's or some shit. I don't know, Disneyland. Hang out with him where nobody can see, and then there will be no problems because no one will see. The public will not know, and it will all be fine. There's also the hollow earth theory, which I need to make an entire video about this because there's a lot of really interesting sub-stories in and around the hollow earth that are... they're interesting. Let's be real. They're very interesting. The hollow moon, already talked about that. It's scientifically explainable. But the most enduring theory in regard to Antarctica is probably the hollow earth theory. It's a theory that suggests our planet contains a habitable inner world, which is accessible through openings at the poles. One in the south, it's where Admiral Byrd flew his little suppository craft in, and one at the north. There are several pieces of evidence that...
Chat, y'all believe this type of stuff? Or y'all just be like, just another conspiracy theory. Can't do anything about it. Like, what do y'all believe? Chat.
Geniuses point to when discussing the hollow earth. Admiral Byrd's alleged alien encounters, number one, unusual aurora phenomenon in Antarctica and magnetic anomalies that can cause navigation equipment to malfunction, and satellite imagery that shows missing data around both poles. So it's like, they're hiding it. Ah! Good. I don't want to know about that shit. I'd rather just be a peon and just love my family and stuff, Life ain't that bad. I don't need to know about aliens. By the way, we checked. The poles are blurry on Google Earth. It's missing blurred data. I'm not sure. That's not what poles look like. I don't assume they look blurry, okay? I don't think you go there and it's all blurred out. There's a lot of blurred spots on the South and North Pole. I don't know. I guess I know why. Military installation or whatever who's gonna be like, what? There's you can see military bases in the United States and what? Who? Don't blur that. You're gonna scare me. You're gonna scare the host. Now, of course, scientists explain the blurring as a limitation of satellite orbits, but I and my fellow geniuses interpret these gaps as evidence of hidden openings to the hollow earth and or conspiracy.
Because you wanna know why?
And the hollow earth isn't really even...
You wanna know why? Because ain't no fucking way they saying it can't coverage that. Bro, you out of fucking space. Bro, you could literally... What? And then on top of that, so you telling me the geographic location of Area 51 when it was blurred out, or some of the parts of China is blurred out, or North Korea is blurred out on the Google Maps because you don't got access there, don't mean you got no fucking... The satellite could definitely go over. You can't, because motherfuckers might shoot it down or whatever, but I don't know how you could shoot something out of space. But anyways, that don't make no sense, bro. Y'all just say y'all hiding shit y'all don't want nobody to see. What the fuck?
Even a new idea. The Greeks had the concept of Hades, the Buddhists believed in Agartha. Human cultures for a very long time have imagined vast worlds beneath the feet, us poor surface dwellers. And Antarctica, with its unexplored depths beneath miles of ice, provides the perfect canvas for this dream, this hidden world of monsters or whatever. So the Nazis went to Antarctica. Operation High Jump really happened. Satellite imagery shows missing data on the visual appearance of Antarctica from the satellite view.
Ain't no way you missing
things that
outta
defy particle physics and our understanding of it in terms of hearing radio waves. Ding, 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 ding. Lots of weird stuff going on. There's also the ice wall theory, which I think deserves its own video, because that is like a, there's some, I could probably get into contact with I know a pilot who believes that that's a legit thing, who's seen it, apparently, allegedly. The scariest part of all of this to me is the amount of resources that are contained in the continent of Antarctica. Right. In 1991, a bunch of countries signed the Madrid Protocol, and that protocol banned all mining in Antarctica until 2048. And that's just 23 years away. And when that treaty expires, a vote of 75% of signatory nations could...
When was this documented? Because, like, niggas know it was gonna melt. Niggas know what's going on. Bro, nah, it's too, nah.
Potentially open Antarctica up for resource extraction. So a lot of the caginess and secrecy and desire to go there makes more sense when you consider the following. Antarctica contains an estimated 200 billion barrels of oil, which is more than Saudi Arabia. Its mineral wealth includes gold, platinum, rare earth elements, neodymium, little tiny alien bacteria that can turn iron into sulfur and iron oxide. Plus, coal reserves there dwarf our existing deposits, and Antarctica holds 70% of the world's fresh water locked in ice. It's an unbelievably valuable source of resources. It's potentially priceless. So there's the preventatory measure of the Madrid Protocol, and on top of that, current extraction costs make it economically unviable to utilize Antarctica for resource extraction, because if it was real, you know, it's gonna happen eventually. But why is there a massive military presence? Why are there nations positioning themselves for 2048 if resources aren't even accessible? Why do people care so much about Antarctica, aside from it being a desolate place and them wanting to do experiments up there for desolate stuff? Why? Why not just do it in my backyard and pay me something? I'll let you do it if you pay me. It's not nearly as cold in my backyard. Just come on. I'm kind of the Clint Eastwood of conspiracy theories. You want to know why? Apparently the year that Brokeback Mountain came out, it was reported that Clint Eastwood hadn't actually seen the movie, therefore he would not vote on it, which would...
Nah, see, like, there's a lot of conspiracy theories. Why are conspiracy theories got something to do with some secretive government shit? Everything, if it don't date back to aliens, it date back to government. Aliens, the government. Both real. At this point, because like all these stories, it's either somebody literally hates the government enough to make all these stories and make all these conspiracy theories, or they actually doing it. Because why is it coming back to y'all, bro? Because y'all got higher power, is the leverage thing, so y'all running things, so y'all get the control of propaganda and all that good stuff. I don't know, but drop down in the comments what the fuck y'all think about this shit, because like, nigga, I really be want to know all this stuff. Like, bro, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe too, because like it helps pay the bills, it helps support your boy. But like, you know what I mean, make sure y'all drop y'all feedbacks on this situation. I don't like getting into the conspiracy theories. I take what I can and I don't run with it. I just take what I can, just like food for thought or something like that, you know what I mean? So tell me what y'all think about it.